Hello and welcome. You are now looking at the site for Amazon Simple Email Service, or Amazon SES. And the site is Amazon's cloud-based service for email marketing services. Now in this course, we'll be looking beyond the marketing language to look at the basic uses for Amazon SES. We'll also take a look at the basic provisions that Amazon is making for GDPR. We'll walk through some basic authentication practices, and we'll go beyond the basics for Amazon SES and email deliverability. We'll discuss what it means to use an interface in order to interact with Amazon SES, but to use another service to deliver the email. And then we'll survey the basic interfaces that you have access to. So basically, the course is designed to give you a basic overview as well as to get you started using Amazon SES for business purposes. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to be discussing the pricing for Amazon SES. And assuming that you don't have an account, we're going to go to the pricing link right here at the top. Now, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to notice that you can start using SES at a free tier at no cost. What this will allow you to do is, if you are a new Amazon AWS customer, you'll be able to send the first 62,000 messages through Amazon SES absolutely free, in addition to having 1,000 inbound messages per month. Now, after the first 62,000, you'll pay 10 cents per 1,000 emails sent afterward. Now, this only applies if you're going to be using the application from inside of Amazon SES. If you choose to use another client or another application that uses Amazon SES, then the price you'll pay is 10 cents per 1,000 emails sent. Now, there is also pricing for receiving email. However, we're not going to cover that portion in this particular course. Now, if you want to get an idea of what you'll be paying every month, you can always use the AWS Simple Monthly Calculator. And all you'll need to do is to put in the information based on what you have with Amazon SES. This will give you an estimate of what you'll be paying at the end of your month. Now, for some users, it'll be necessary to get a dedicated IP address, as this helps with deliverability. A dedicated IP address is going to be $24.95 per month, and that'll be in addition to the services that you are using. It's likely that if you choose to use Amazon as your email provider, that you will not be using attachments. However, if you do, there is a separate charge for attachments, and that charge is going to be, over the course of the month, 12 cents per gigabyte of attachments that you send. Now, if you don't have an AWS account or an Amazon SES account, as you're already logged into your Amazon account, what you'll need to do is to click this button that says Create a Free Account. When you get to this page, you'll either sign up for an existing AWS account that you already have, maybe perhaps you're already using Amazon S3, or you can sign up for a new account using this interface. You'll want to fill in the information that you are being brought to. And once you've done that, you'll then click Create Account and Continue. Now, when you get ready to sign up, you will need to submit a credit card number to AWS. You can do that here in this screen. And once you've done that, you can then click Submit. You'll then have access to the console. What you'll do is you'll scroll down on the right side and you'll click Simple Email Service. Welcome back. Now in this video, we want to talk about the common uses for Amazon SES. And one of the primary uses is going to be to send transactional email from within an application. So for example, if you use WordPress or you use a membership script of some kind and you need an email system that will send transactional email, you can use Amazon SES for this case. Similar to transactional email are notification emails. Again, when you're using an application and your application sends out notifications by email. And of course, one of the primary uses is going to be to send marketing communications, including newsletters as well as drip campaigns. When it comes to transactional email as well as notifications, this is where Amazon SES's benefits really come to play. For example, their ability to get email into the inbox as well as being reliable in terms of uptime means then that when you have new clients or new customers that come on to your application, they'll be getting the emails that you'll be sending to them, giving them things like logins and passwords and direct notifications. And because when you have a particular launch or you have a high volume of customers, this is where the cost-effective nature of Amazon benefits you. This means that you can send a lot of emails at a low cost. Hello and welcome. You are now looking at a critical suspension notice from Amazon SES. And one of the things that you'll want to take note of is where they define what is acceptable and what is not. We are going to look at this link, which is this acceptable use policy. Now, you are going to want to take note of something in particular even before we view that policy. Anything that's considered to be illegal, harmful, or offensive. And again, that's going to be determined from Amazon. Anything that they view as going to be harmful to their operations or reputation, again, determined by Amazon. And then anything determined to be disseminating fraudulent goods, schemes, promotions, make money fast schemes, Ponzi or pyramid schemes, phishing, or farming. Now, all of these things are going to be determined from Amazon's perspective. Now, if you do get a notice like this, you can appeal, and you can appeal according to the acceptable use policy, determining how you're going to change your content to comply with the acceptable use policy. Again, most of the acceptable use policy will repeat what we have just gone over, but it's stated explicitly here. You want to be careful that your email does not appear to be or look like mass email or spam. Now, in its tips and practices, although it does not prohibit these particular industries, they do associate these with poor quality email experience. Home mortgage, credit, pharmaceuticals, alcohol and tobacco, adult entertainment, casinos, and work from home programs. One of the things the company is monitoring is hard bounces from your email sending. So to remain within the acceptable use guidelines, you'll want to make sure that you are well within these tips and best practices in case there's a problem with one of your emails. And in this course, we will be going over authentication to help you to make sure that you are meeting this requirement. And finally, although it is not required, it's recommended that you use a double opt-in strategy by Amazon. And the reason is because you don't want to have a lot of email addresses that are going to be false when your email starts to send. Again, this is going to be triggering hard bounces, and then that will then determine how close you get to being suspended by Amazon. So before you begin relying on Amazon SES as your autoresponder or as your newsletter sender, you do want to make sure that you are well familiar with the AWS acceptable use policy. Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to briefly discuss the General Data Protection Regulation for the operations you may have via email with citizens from the EU. Now, Amazon has an extensive frequently asked questions section that's worth reading even if you choose not to use AWS. However, to go over the entire section would be beyond the scope of this course. There are a few things that are going to be pertinent as you begin to set up your AWS. First, that as a cloud provider, Amazon is choosing to abide by a certain code of conduct with the CISPE. The built-in security features of Amazon SES using the IAM system only allows authorized administrators access to the data that you will be keeping with the email addresses in the SES system. In addition to that, data is encrypted with Amazon SES as well as monitored and logged. And as of the recording of this video, Amazon's services are compliant with GDPR. For all of its cloud-based systems, Amazon has a system in place for you to be able to delete content from the system. And finally, by having complied with the CISPE and using Amazon SES, you will have the information available to prove that the system you're using is in compliance. And once again, Amazon's section on GDPR is extensive and worth a read, and you can find it in the address on your screen. Hello and welcome. We will now start the setup and verification process. And to get started, we are going to first click Verify a new email address. And if you are in sandbox mode when you start with AWS, you're going to need to verify the to address also. But we are going to start by verifying our from email address. We're going to do that by clicking Verify a new email address. And when we get to this dialog box, we're going to put in the email address that we want to verify, and then we're going to click Verify this email address. SES will then send the verification email to our email box, so we'll need to go to the email address and then verify the link. You should then see an email address from Amazon Web Services. You're going to want to open that email. You'll then want to verify this link. You should then get a congratulations message saying that your email address is now verified. And once you've verified, you'll note that Amazon will tell you that if you have not applied for a sending limit increase, then you're still in the sandbox environment and you can only send to email addresses that have been verified. So now what we'll need to do, if you're in sandbox mode, is to go through the same process, verify another email address so that you'll be able to send to test that email address. In order to test, we'll now go back to the Amazon SES console. And what we're going to do now is we're going to click this link that says email addresses. We're then going to choose our from email address, so we're going to highlight it, and we're going to click Send a Test Email. Now again, if your account is still in sandbox mode, you'll need to send to a verified email address. So you'll need to have another email address that's already been verified that you can send to test the system. If you're not in sandbox mode, you can write in the email address you're going to be sending to. You can write in your subject and then your body. And once you've written the email, you can then click Send Test Email. You should then be able to go to your inbox and then see the email that has been sent. And if you do, that means that the system is working properly. In order to begin using Amazon SES, you are going to need to move out of the sandbox mode. And if you are still in, you are going to need to go through a few steps. First, you're going to need to visit this particular link. And this is where you're going to open up a request to move out of the SES sandbox. You're going to choose your region for sending, and then you're going to determine your sending quota or your send rate. You can actually request to be out of the sandbox and request a sending increase at the same time. So you can do that right here. The most important part of this process is that you are going to tell Amazon how you intend to use the SES system. You're going to want to tell them how you're going to build and acquire your mailing list. You're going to tell them how you're going to handle any bounces or complaints. You're going to tell them how people are going to be able to unsubscribe from your mailing list and how you're going to respond to those requests. And then you're going to tell them how you arrived at the number in terms of a sending increase that you requested. And once you submit, this request is going to take one entire business day to evaluate. Now, Amazon also says this, quote, if you want to have your account removed from the sandbox but you don't want a sending limit increase, specify either a daily sending quota of 200 or a maximum send rate of 1, depending on the value you choose for limit. These are the limits that Amazon SES applies by default to all accounts in the sandbox. So this will get you out of the sandbox without raising your sending limit so that you can continue to test the system. Hello and welcome. Now in this video we are going to verify our domain that we're going to be using with Amazon SES. And to do that, we're going to go to the Identity Management tab inside of SES. So to start from the beginning, we'll start from the home page of Amazon SES. You're going to see a left side menu. You'll then click Domains. What you'll do then is you're going to click Verify a new domain. You're then going to write in the domain that you're going to be using. You're then going to want to click the Generate DKIM settings. Then you'll want to click Verify this domain. You'll again get a set of information that you're going to be using with your host. And when you do this, it's going to take about 48 hours in order for you to verify the domain fully and for it to propagate. Now, in some cases, you will then take this information and give it to your host. In other cases, you'll need to place this information inside of your DNS settings yourself. The best place to start would be to ask your host how you should handle this, and if they choose to handle it for you, you can let them, and if not, then you'll want to enter it. Now, if you're already familiar with the zone editor inside your cPanel or control panel for your website, you'll be able to place these records by using this panel, and you'll see that there is a space for the CNAME record, for an MX record, as well as a record for TXT. And once this process is complete, you'll be able to send through Amazon SES with any address from the domain that is verified. You'll also be protected against spoofers who attempt to use your domain and sending capability inside of Amazon SES by faking your email address. Now you can start checking for verification. Now you can start checking for verification as little as 1 hour after the time when you have set this up. Now, Amazon and most hosts will say that this process is going to take 48 to 72 hours. As of the recording of this video, this process took 2 hours. Now, you can then go into your domain. If you click the drop-down menu, you'll see that the DKIM settings are all verified, as well as your mail from domain is now in place, and your domain is now ready to be used. Hello and welcome. Now, in looking at the email that you received from Amazon SES, what you'll notice is that this email address, which is the from email address, actually is the one that you set up, plus you see the word via, and then it says amazonses.com. Now, this is an email address that indicates that you are sending through Amazon SES. You can control this appearance so that this is something custom that will look like it came from your domain. You do that through the sender policy framework, and there are 2 steps to the process. We're going to go over one of those steps in this video. When you come back to your home screen, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your email addresses that you set up, and you're going to go to the email address that you are setting up and that you're working with. You'll then reach to the very top bar here and then click View Details. And when you click View Details, what you're going to do is go to the bottom level and then click this drop-down arrow, and you're going to click Set Mail from Domain. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to set up a subdomain that you're going to be using. In this case, we're going to name our subdomain, and then we're going to click Set Mail from Domain. And once again, you will then need to publish this to your DNS settings. And you'll either need to use the cPanel zone editor, or if you work with your host to do this, you'll want to give this information to your host so that they can add it to your DNS. Now, once we've added this information to our DNS, it's going to be another 48 to 72 hours before we can use it and expect to see it render properly inside of our email. So for now, we're just going to close up this dialog box and wait for the propagation. And what we'll see in Amazon SES is that this is going to say pending verification until our system is correct. Now, although we already have our DKIM set up through our domain verification process, we're going to go to our email address and we're going to set up our notifications. And this is the second part of the process. And we're going to go into our email addresses. We are then going to go back to the email address and we're going to click View Details. When we get to these details, we're going to then click the notifications link and we're going to click the down arrow, and then we're going to click Edit Configuration. Now by default, we have email feedback forwarding on. That means then we're going to get bounce and complete notifications sent to us by the email address that we have on file. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have our bounces, complaints, and delivery set up by topic. So we're going to click here to create a new Amazon SNS topic. Once we do that, we're going to click Create Topic. And then we're going to select the topic for our bounces. And we will select the one that we want. And then we'll do the same process for complaints and deliveries. Once we have our topics, we will then save this configuration. Then we will get notifications for bounces, complaints, and deliveries sent to our email, again with specific topics in the email. And with that, we now have a basic setup for us to begin connecting our account to front-end systems for transactional email as well as notifications. Welcome back. Now, whether or not you're using Amazon SES along with a server or cloud-based interface, or you're using it as transactional email, you're going to want to make sure that you keep your domains matched. So if you're working with a particular domain, you're just going to come into Amazon SES and take that existing domain, come to the domain section, and just as you did before, you're going to verify your new domain. All you're going to need to do is to click Verify a New Domain, and then you're going to go through the same process that we did before with the previous domain. You'll set up your DKIM settings, you'll write in your name, you'll generate the DKIM settings, you'll click Verify this domain. You will then get another set of entries that you'll need to put into your zone editor. You're going to want to make sure to download this entire CSV because this is a drop-down menu. You may miss this third one here. And once you download this CSV, you're going to want to come over to your column. You'll just want to expand it so that you have all this information. Then you're going to go to your zone editor for the new domain. Once you're back inside your zone editor, then you'll be able to add your records according to the particular ones that you have in the CSV. For example, you'll see the 3 CNAME records that you'll be entering in, and you'll do this for each one of the records that you have in the CSV, and you'll just add in the record here inside of your zone editor. Now, the only way that you're going to need to do this is if this is something that your host doesn't do. So you are going to want to make sure you check with your host, make sure you know the exact procedure to add this to your DNS. In some cases, your host will actually do this activity for you. And once you've entered, you'll see that you'll need to go through the verification process. Once the verification process is complete and you've added the information, Amazon will actually keep checking. You don't have to go back and manually submit anything. This will update automatically. As you can see, this domain has already verified and we're now ready to use it with the DKIM settings. Welcome back. Now, it's possible that you may want to create transactional email with your Amazon SES account on a different domain after the fact. And if that's the case, you can come in and you can place a different email address inside of your Amazon SES account. You can do that by going through some of the same processes that we did when we first set up an email address by going to this email section. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click Verify a New Email Address. And then we're going to go back through the same process. We're going to write in the email address. We're then going to verify our email. When we come back and we refresh our page, then our email is going to be verified. Now, it's quite possible that the domain that we're going to be using has not been verified. What we're going to do if that's the case is we're going to then view details. We're then going to go in and we're going to set up our notifications. We're going to set up our DKIM and our mail from domain, and then this will give us the ability to use this email address without having to have our entire domain verified. So for example, we'll step back through the process of creating notifications. We will then set up a process of setting up our DKIM for this specific email address. We will then do the mail from domain policy by going mail from domain. Again, all of these are procedures that we have done before in the authentication process, except now we'll be doing this for an individual email address as opposed to an entire domain, so that we can use this email address with a new system attached to our SES account. Welcome back. When you've gone through the extra step of setting up your email, verifying it, and then making sure that your DKIM settings are verified and that your mail from domain matches your SPF settings, you'll then be in a position to take steps toward increasing your deliverability. And one of the things that you can do is you can make sure that any links that you create inside of your email, whether you're doing a promotion or whether you're doing some kind of notification, that you use the domain in the email that you're actually using or the domain that has been verified. This will lend itself to the authority of your email, and along with your content can help your email achieve deliverability. Now you can increase the reputation of the domain executing links and using the domain in your emails by using a dedicated IP. Now, using a dedicated IP is not a necessity with Amazon SES, but it can increase the likelihood that your emails will get delivered. In order to do this, you will come to your left side panel. You will then need to open up a limits increase case. You do, when you're submitting your application, what you're going to want to do is write in here in the use case description that you're requesting a dedicated IP, and you'll let them know which domain you're requesting one for. Once you've done that and you're matching this with the links that you're using, you're increasing your opportunities to be inboxed by most cloud-based email services. Welcome back. Now, part of the process in working with Amazon SES is going to be making sure that your content is such that your emails will be deliverable. You'll be avoiding hard bounces. So you want to make sure that everything that you're writing, everything that you're putting in your email is going to be well within the acceptable use policy. And basically what Amazon is really looking for is that you're not trying to deceive anyone, that you're not trying to do a bait and switch, is that your email is delivering exactly what it says it's going to. Anything that you're doing with the email that's going to be transactional or notification, it should be specific. So it really should comply to whatever it is that they bought or wherever it is that they have opted into. Those emails should be specifically for that. Doesn't mean that you can't use a link to sell in those emails. However, it really should be the bulk of the content about what it is that they've opted into. You want to note that Amazon system is going to scan your email before it goes out. So it's going to be looking to find anything that really looks for common spam patterns in your content. So you want to take note of that. This is what happens when some users find that Amazon may suspend their account because after scans, their emails do not meet the acceptable use policy. What you want to do, and this is the point of this video, is you will need to set up some email addresses, and you want to set these email addresses so that you'll be able to test to find out whether or not the emails you're sending out are going to be going into spam boxes, whether or not they're going to be going into promotional tabs, whether or not they're going to be hitting the inbox. And so you want to set up these email addresses with the most popular cloud-based services so that you can check them easily. Email addresses from Gmail, from AOL, from Yahoo, from Microsoft, and any other service that you know is popular, you're going to be able to send out the email so that you'll be able to check these boxes on a regular basis. If you can, every email that you send out, you want to make sure that those emails are going into the inboxes of these popular services. You want to note what happens when the email is sent to these boxes. You want to note what kind of category it's being placed in, and you want to note how consistently you're making the inbox. You want to try, of course, not to use any common spam words in your content. And then if you can, you want to avoid using the same link in your email multiple times. Length can be a factor, but it's not always going to be a factor, so it doesn't matter if you leave your emails and you make them really long. It doesn't necessarily mean that your email is not going to be considered to be spam. make sure that you're testing any brand name and any popular titles before you send out. And so anything that you've seen in the news that people are talking about, that people are building business opportunities around, make sure you test those brand names in your email before you send them out. And of course, the other thing you want to do is use testing sites, and we'll be talking about that in a separate video. Welcome back. Now, once you have secured some kind of interface you're going to be using to send out your Amazon SES email, you can use the site mail-tester.com. And mail-tester.com will send your email into a test box where you can look to find out whether or not your email is considered to be spam. Now, the most important function that mail-tester.com really does is the SPF and DKIM check. And you'll want to focus on whether or not you've got an SPF or DKIM check problem. So you'll want to test your domain, you want to test your DKIM selector, you want to make sure that this is working correctly inside of the domain that you're using, especially that you're going to be sending out with your email. And what you're looking for when you check your score mainly is going to be your DKIM and SPF check. And when you do, you're going to want to see that your DKIM is valid. You're going to want to see that your SPF is valid. And again, MailTester will help you to figure out whether or not you have a problem and if you are fully authenticated. Now, another testing system you can use is gmass.co/inbox, and you'll be able to use these email addresses in your campaign, and this will tell you whether or not your emails are likely to go to spam. And this is a great testing facility that you can use right alongside of mail-tester.com to determine if your content is going to put you in the spam folder. Now, obviously, you're going to be using these with your email interface. So when you've chosen a way to send out email, you're going to put this email address as well as the GMAS emails into your campaign so that you can determine prior to a live campaign what's actually going to happen with your email and before you send out emails through Amazon SES so that you won't trigger a number of hard bounces. Welcome back. You will be faced with the question of whether or not you should or whether or not you must use double or single opt-in when it comes to Amazon SES. Now, there are two ways, obviously, to use Amazon SES: transaction or notification emails or marketing communications. And when you're using SES for marketing communications, you will want to determine whether or not you're going to use double or single opt-in. And there is no specific requirement that the interface you're using with Amazon SES uses double opt-in. So you can do single opt-in when you're using Amazon SES. Additionally, Amazon does not prioritize double or single opt-in email addresses when sending out your emails, as do some email service providers. Now, it does measure what appears to be a lack of interest through the form of hard bounces. It's their stated policy and tips that they suggest that you only allow interested subscribers to stay, and that would indicate that you are using double opt-in because they've gone through the second level of trying to get into your email marketing list. Now, if you choose not to use double opt-in, you will want to keep your list segmented so the individuals get specific messaging to the reason that they actually opted in. Of course, now with all of this, the point of email marketing is not to avoid hard bounces. You do, though, want to keep from investing time and resources into a system like Amazon SES and lose it due to a few simple things that you can put in place. So if you choose, again, not to use double opt-in, make sure then that you're keeping your messaging specific and segmented. Welcome back. Now, in order to use Amazon SES for your marketing communications, you will be using an interface. If you're going to be using it for transaction notifications, you will be using the SMTP settings, and you'll be using it for transaction and notification emails. To do that, you are going to need to come into your dashboard, and then you're going to need to configure your SMTP settings. And you'll see that in this left side menu. And you're going to click this link, and you're going to click this button that says create my SMTP credentials. What you're going to do now is you're going to create an IM user for your SMTP authentication. You're going to write in a new user name. But once you do that and then you create your user, you're going to want to then download the credentials. Once you download these credentials, you'll want to keep these in a safe place, and you want to limit the number of people who are going to see them. This is going to be your connection to Amazon SES using SMTP. When you do that, you're going to get the username, you're going to get the SMTP user, and you're going to get an SMTP password. This is what you're going to need in order to connect with the application so that it will take these SMTP credentials and use them so that SES is sending the email. Once you have downloaded your credentials, you can then close out this interface. You'll need to note that these credentials will only be created once, and this is the only time you'll be able to access them. Welcome back. Although there are a number of email service systems that you can use to connect with Amazon SES, we're now going to survey 9 different services that you can use either on your server or a cloud-based system in order to connect with Amazon SES to take advantage of the pricing as well as deliverability. And the first of those systems is Sendy.co. And Sendy.co is a system that will cost $59 one time. It allows you to send unlimited newsletters as well as to segment your list into different products and brands. Now, this is a self-hosted service that will run on your server, so it will take some measure of technical aptitude in order to get it up and running. Now, Email Octopus is another email service, and it connects through both WordPress and Zapier along with Amazon SES. So while it still runs on your server, the pricing does compare favorably with most email marketing systems. As you can see, 10,000 subscribers is $19 a month. 2,500 subscribers is going to be $0, with your statistics being stored for 90 days. In this case, there's a difference between automation campaigns and just plain campaigns. With the free version, all you'll have access to are going to be campaigns. Now, an enterprise level system is going to be People Campaigns. And People Campaigns has an email template library, and it has an API along with the marketing communications that will allow you to use it. The pricing is obviously a little different. Of course, you can send 10,000 free emails every month, and then you're going to pay at the free level $0 a month. You can actually move up to $9 a month and then pay 10 cents for every 1,000 emails that are going to be sent. They give you an opportunity to compare the pricing with other systems that you are considering. So these 3 email systems allow you to connect with Amazon SES. There is some measure of getting these things set up. So you want to consider the one that's going to be easiest to install and maintain. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to go through the second set of 3 connection points for Amazon SES. And you're looking at moonmail.com. Moonmail.com is an open source email marketing system. Now for context, it is used by international brands such as Warner Brothers and Nespresso. Paid pricing starts at $15.99 a month for 25,000 recipients. Now FormGet is a cloud-based service and is a little more expensive than the others. However, you do not have to go through a setup and maintenance process. And it does compare favorably to other email marketing systems in that you can send to 100,000 subscribers for $79 a month. And so the cost of the savings that they're getting from Amazon SES, they're passing this on to you, the customer. And finally, there's EasyMail 7. EasyMail 7 is another system, and the payment is going to be one time. However, just note that there is an annual maintenance fee if you choose to keep working with EasyMail after your anniversary. And obviously, it's being used by a number of businesses, large, mid-size, and small. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to look at the last of the 3 connection points that we're going to survey with Amazon SES. And you're looking at Easy Sendy Pro. It says that it's designed for a user base of about 5,000, which would be considered to be a smaller mid-sized business. And the pricing is again considered favorable to autoresponder companies, where you'll see that $59 a month would be for 100,000 subscribers. Now, Easy Sendy Pro is designed to work with a number of SMTP services, including Amazon SES as well as SendGrid and others. Another system is Mautic. Mautic is open source and free to get started. Now there is a pro version that does offer additional features and has a variable pricing method. And finally, there is Agile CRM. Agile CRM is another cloud-based company that works with other larger and web-based businesses. As you can see, it has varying pricing depending on how large you're going to need, depending mainly on what kind of integrations you're going to need with your email system. And as you can see, 50,000 contacts will be as low as $29 a month. So you can use Amazon SES either with a server-based system where you are going to maintain the software, or with a cloud-based system where you're going to allow someone else to maintain the system and then connect to your Amazon SES as your marketing communication system. Obviously, there are cost considerations, so you'll need to make sure if you choose the route of lesser cost that it's not offset by needing to maintain your server. In conclusion, you've now seen various connection points for Amazon SES if you want to use it as an email marketing communication system. And undoubtedly, you now have to make a decision about which one is going to fit your business best. But the first thing you'll want to do is to make sure you've walked through the entire process of authenticating your email as well as your domain, so that you'll be ready both to use Amazon SES as your transactional email system as well as your email marketing communication system. Now, if you want to see an example of setting up your SMTP system with an interface, there is one along with this course. You can see the example of a connection between ClickFunnels, which is a cloud-based marketing system, and Amazon SES through the SMTP. Regardless, you can then begin monitoring your email through the various systems that Amazon SES gives you in your console panel. Hello and welcome. If you have been through the basic course for Amazon SES, you now know how to verify your domain. You should now know how to set up and verify an email address. You should also know how to set up your basic SMTP settings, and you should have downloaded them to your hard drive. If you've done that, you're now ready to connect an interface to Amazon SES so that you can use it to either send email or to do transactional email. And that is what we will be doing in this course. In fact, what we'll also do is we will take a look at connecting Amazon SES to a WordPress installation for both transactional email as well as for newsletter sending. Welcome back. Now in this video we're going to discuss the issues involved in considering whether or not you should use a server-based system connection to Amazon SES. Now the server-based system connections are typically priced as one-time fees. And if you look just at the fee, you might think that it's cost effective to pay one time and then to use Amazon SES, which is less expensive than you would a traditional autoresponder service, and to operate your email marketing. However, there's more to consider. Now, these server-based systems require your maintenance and your installation. So just getting it up and running will require you to take time in order to get it operational and then for you to maintain the system. And these systems, in their installation as well as their maintenance, do require technical ability. And this is going to be outside of monitoring the email activity. So whether or not your emails are bouncing and whether or not your emails are doing what they're supposed to be doing, those are going to be things that you are going to have to take on or have someone on your staff take on. In addition to that, though, you are going to need to make sure that the server is working correctly in order to house your software. These systems do require your ability to troubleshoot something if something goes wrong. In some cases, if you have a problem with the server, you could be having a problem with your email system. Now, these systems do have well-documented forum areas with other users. So typically, if there is a problem that you were having, other people have had the problem and they can help you to work through a solution. Now, those forums do depend on participation from users like you with problems and solutions. So you are really participating in a community by being part of a group of people using the software. Sometimes the software is open source. Sometimes the software is a paid solution. Regardless, you will be participating with other people who have paid a relatively low cost for the software and maintenance. However, they're working through problems together. Now, this in and of itself might be why the one-time fee might be deceptive to the wrong person. So if you can't work through problems, if you can't participate in some of the communities, this may or may not be the right way to make a decision. The question is going to be whether or not you're willing to take on this task of server maintenance and participation in the communities, or to hire out the maintenance and monitoring as an expense to someone else. Now, the proper cost comparison that you'll want to make for a self-hosted system, it can either be between the traditional email service and then the cost will look very good, or it could be between the server-based system and other cloud-based services connected to Amazon SES. And we'll actually look at those costs in the next video. Welcome back. You are now looking at Agile CRM, and this is one of the systems that connect with Amazon SES. And once again, we're looking at the pricing schedule, and you'll notice that at the $29.99 level, that the number of subscribers that you would have available to you would be 50,000. Email Octopus for 50,000 subscribers, the cost is $39 a month, and for FormGet it is $49 a month. For Easy Sendy Pro, it's $59 a month for 100,000 subscribers. Now, these are hybrid connections because you don't have to maintain the software, the server, in order to interact with Amazon SES. Now, the fairest comparison to make with this kind of solution is going to be a traditional autoresponder. And as you can see, for over 25,000 subscribers with Aweber, the cost would be over $149 a month. And for GetResponse, you'll see a similar cost scale on a monthly basis. So apart from features, if you were making a decision solely on the basis of cost and getting started, and you prefer not to work with some of the technical aspects of the server, a mid-range solution might be the cloud-based systems that interact and use Amazon SES. So you'll want to take this into consideration when you are making your decision as to which service you're going to connect with Amazon SES. Hello and welcome. We are now going to work with the server-based software Mautic.org. We're choosing Mautic because it is open source, has a forum, and it is free to install. So to get started, we're going to click the register button. And we're going to create a username and password. And once we do that, we are then going to sign in. We'll then need to activate our account by email. And we'll now need to activate our account. We'll then click this link to activate, and then our account is then active. We can then download the Mautic software by going to this link that says download, and then we will download Mautic. Now to note, Mautic also has a cloud-based version of the software if you sign up for a free subscription. And that free subscription will give you access to 5,000 contacts and 1,000 email sends per day. We are going to continue on and we're going to install the software on our server. Now the process to unzip Mautic is a long one, so you'll want to just take note of that, and it may take a long time to actually get the files open into your hard drive. Now once you have the file unzipped, you'll then want to upload these files to a directory on your server. Now once you've installed fully, you'll want to navigate to the PHP file, which is called upgrade, and it'll bring you to this page. Now there is an alternative method if you have cPanel or some other kind of control panel on your server. You can typically install Mautic from one of those interfaces, and we will do that in the next video. Welcome back. Now we have been through the basic installation process for Mautic. So we're going to follow the link and we're going to click here to start upgrade. Now, unfortunately, this is giving us a page isn't working. So instead, if we resolve straight to the destination or the URL, we're getting another error message that says that the site could be currently offline and it's encountering a problem. So what we're now going to do is we're going to look at the alternative method of being able to install Mautic. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to come inside of our cPanel and we're going to go to Fantastico. Now you may have something like Softaculous or some other software installation program. You can go to that area. We're going to click Fantastico. And we're now going to find Mautic in our list of programs. And we have it, so we're going to click Mautic. And what we're going to do is we're going to click here to install a new copy. We're going to place our Mautic installation in a new directory. And we're going to fill in all of the pertinent information in order to install Mautic. We're then going to click Submit. And we're now going to click Proceed. And we're going to let Fantastico complete the process. Now, after about a 2-minute process, it's discovered that Fantastico will not install Mautic for us at this time. And so you'll note that the installation process for Mautic may not always be straightforward, even though it should be. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a more straightforward process using a paid application called Sendy. Welcome back. You are now looking at Sendy.co. And we're looking at Sendy.co because we are going to demonstrate a server-based installation and setup. Now, Sendy is a paid application and it does work on your server. And as was discussed in the basic course, Sendy is a $59 one-time fee. And the reason that we're choosing Sendy is because of the ease of installation. The free application Mautic, which is open source, is much more difficult to get to install the very first time without higher than average technical knowledge. So that being said, we're going to start by creating an account with Sendy and purchasing the download. You'll then get an email with the download link as well as the license key. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to copy your license key and then you'll want to download Sendy. Now, once you've unzipped the files, you'll then have all of the files that you need for Sendy. You'll then want to take these files and you'll want to upload them to a directory on your site. Once you've uploaded your files, you are then going to need to create a database for your email system. And so you'll need to come into your cPanel or wherever it is that you work with your database. You're then going to go through your database wizard and you're going to create a new database. You'll then create a new database user and you will then create a password for your database user. You will give that database user all privileges and then you'll click Next Step. And once you've created your new database user, you're going to come to your Sendy files and you're going to go into the Includes folder. You're then going to go into the config.php file. You're then going to open it up and edit the file with your HTML editor. What we're going to do now is we're going to edit this config file. And we're going to edit in the information between the two apostrophes. So in this case, in most cases, your host name is going to be localhost. And if that's not the case, you'll want to check with your host, but typically this name is going to be localhost. This, your MySQL username, is going to be the username that you just created. Your database name is going to be the database you just created, and your password is going to be the one you just created for the database. Once you have all that information in, you're then going to click Save. As you can see here, we have all of our information in. We're now going to write in our password and save the file. You're now going to use your FTP program to replace that file on your server. And all we'll need to do is to drag and drop the save folder into the directory in the same place. You'll get a message asking you to overwrite the file and you'll then click OK. And with that, we will pick it up in the next video. Welcome back. We are now going to need to navigate back to our file manager or our FTP program. We're going to need to go back to the directory where we know Sendy is. And once we double click that directory, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Uploads folder, and then we're going to right click that folder, and then we're going to click File Permissions. What we're going to do is we're going to give all permissions to write and then leave all permissions at 777. So the numeric value should be 777 in this box. And we are then going to click OK. We should then be able to navigate to our Sendy installation. And we should navigate to the place where we installed it in our server. We should get a screen that looks like this. And then we are ready to then go through the installation process. So to start the installation process, we're going to need the license key that we picked up from our email from Sendy. We're going to put in our company name, our name, email, and password. And then we're going to need to create an AWS Access key as well as an AWS secret key inside of our SES account. And we're going to come back to our AWS panel. We're going to go into our IAM menu. We're going to click Users. And we're going to add a user and write in a username. We're going to give that user programmatic access and then click Next. We're then going to attach existing policies directly. So we're going to click this box. We're then going to type into the search box SESF. And then we're going to check the box. Once we've done that, we're then going to click SNSF. We're going to check that box. And once we click the review button, we'll see here that we'll have SESF, we'll have our SNSF. We're then going to click Create User. We're then going to have an access key and our secret access key, which we will be placing in to our Sendy installation. And once we have all our information in, we'll then click Install Now. Welcome back. You should have already requested a sending limits increase. And if you have, what you can do is you can go ahead and log into your Sendy account. Now for your Sendy account, you're going to need to verify your login email address. And when you get the email, you're going to click the link to confirm. And your email will then be verified with Amazon SES. You can then come back to your login. You can refresh by hitting F5, and then the verification message will go away. You'll then be able to then click Add a New Brand. And this will be the brand that you'll be sending under, the brand name, the name, and all the email address related information you're going to be placing in. Once you have your information in, you'll then click Save. Again, if you have already requested your send rate increase, you'll see that information on the left side panel. If you haven't, you will want to request your increase so that you can begin sending with Sendy. And now your newsletter program is set up to send with Amazon SES. Welcome back. You are now looking at the inside of a WordPress installation. And Amazon SES will integrate with WordPress through some of the applications we've been discussing. In particular, the server-based application Sendy does have its own integration with WordPress. For example, there are plugins created by developers. Here's one that hasn't been updated for quite a while. However, the plugin allows you to subscribe a user to your Sendy list when they register for your site. Another which will serve as a widget on your WordPress site and allow people to sign up for your Sendy list. Now, Sendy will also integrate with WordPress through the third-party application Zapier. And basically, Zapier will facilitate you being able to use your WordPress installation in order to create draft campaigns in Sendy. So in order to get access to the WordPress integrations in WordPress, you will then go back to your WordPress installation. You'll go to the Add Plugins screen, and then you'll write in the word Sendy. And then you'll see all of the plugins that will be available for you to be able to use with WordPress. Hello and welcome. What we're now going to do is we're going to walk through the process of setting up with a serverless technology. So we're going to start by going to the free trial of Email Octopus, and we're going to click Get Started for free. We're going to write in our email address and then a username and password. and then we're going to click Sign Up. We'll then need to activate our account with the cloud-based system. And once you confirm your email, you will then have access to the Email Octopus dashboard. Now again, this service is running in the cloud even though you will be using Amazon SES to deliver your email. So you should have already requested your sending limit increase so that you'll be able to use this cloud-based service. So the next video, we are going to connect our SES service with Email Octopus. Welcome back. Now that we are inside of the Email Octopus dashboard, we're going to click this link that says Set up AWS. Email Octopus is going to ask you if you have an AWS account. You're going to click Yes. And we're basically going to work through the same process we did with the server-based email, and we're going to create programmatic access with a new username inside of our SES account. That means that we'll come back to our I am user page. We're going to click Users. We'll then click Users. And once we click Add a new user, we're going to create a new username. And we're going to give that username programmatic access and click Next. We're going to click Attach Existing Policies Directly. We're then going to write in SESF. We're then going to click this box. We're going to then click Next Review. We're then going to click Previous. We're then going to write in SNSF. We're going to click the box. We're then going to click Next Review. We'll then have two policies here. We're then going to click Create User. That user will then have an access key and a secret access key, and this is what we will place inside of Email Octopus. And once we do that, we will then click Complete Setup. Hello and welcome. We are inside of the campaign creation screen for Email Octopus. And what you'll notice here is that the sending from domain is one that is a domain that we've already set up in Amazon SES, as well as an email address. And here's why this is important. If you'll look at this email, you'll notice that the email address is the one that we have set up inside of Amazon SES, and it's the one that has been verified with the domain. You'll notice it's also in the primary tab inside of Google Gmail. Now the same email was sent, except for this time a different email was used, and it was one that was not set up and verified in Amazon SES. And what you'll notice is that this email appears in the Promotions tab. It also appears as a compound email address. So what you put inside of the field is very important, and you'll want to make sure that you've used something that you've already verified inside of Amazon SES. Welcome back. In the last video, we determined that it makes a difference for you to use an email from a domain that has already been verified inside of Amazon SES. That means then that if you're going to use domains in your email, you're going to want to, when you can, use those domains that have already been verified. So the same way that we use emails from this domain, if we're going to promote from a new domain, or we're going to be directing people to a new website, it's a good idea to verify that domain inside of Amazon SES and then begin to use it inside of our emails. And again, remember, if you choose to go this route, you are going to want to put your domain in the Verify New Domain field, and then you're going to want to generate the DKIM settings, which you will then take to the DNS settings in your hosting account. Welcome back. Now, Amazon SES can also integrate with WordPress through the cloud-based systems. And as you can see here, there is an entire page of integrations through Email Octopus. And you'll notice that Email Octopus has their own WordPress plugin that they created and maintain. And although there are no connections direct to WordPress through Zapier, the company does have Zapier applications, as well as other popular integrations such as Ninja Form and Opt-in Ninja. To install the Email Octopus plugin directly, all you'll need to do is you'll need to go to your plugins area, you'll need to type in Email Octopus, and then just click the Install Now button. You'll then need to activate the plugin. In order to access the plugin, what you'll need to do is to go to the Appearance section. You'll need to go to the Widgets. Once you get access to the widgets, you'll look for your widget area, and all you'll need to do is to grab the Email Octopus plugin and drag it over into the widget area. And then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to create a list ID and then bring people to subscribe to your list through the Email Octopus plugin. Hello and welcome. You are looking at a typical WordPress notification sent to an email. And what you'll notice is that this WordPress email has a compound email address. You'll notice that it has two separate domains that is mentioned, which can decrease the deliverability. However, this notification email is part of the default settings of a WordPress installation. Currently, if you were to go to the settings area of WordPress, there would be no place for you to customize the WordPress email. And so any added functionality, such as a membership site, will use the same mail setup. So what you'll want to be able to do with WordPress is to add some functionality through a plugin that will allow you to create more deliverable emails. And we can do that through Amazon SES. So the next step, we're going to change the functionality of our WordPress installation by using Amazon SES. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to go to our Add New Plugins area. When we get there, we're going to type in SES. At the very top, we see two plugins for our needs. WP SES sends all outgoing WordPress emails through SES for maximum email deliverability. We can install that plugin, or we can use Amazon SMTP. However, you'll note that this is by FormGet, and that's one of the services that is available through the cloud that you'd have to sign up for. We notice that this plugin has over 10,000 active installations, so we're going to go ahead and click Install Now. And now that it's installed, we're going to click Activate. So we'll note that our plugin is now installed. We can go to the settings area, and then we can click on WP SES. And we're going to write in our sender email. And we write in this email is going to be one that we've already verified through the domain in Amazon SES. We're going to put in a name. Now these two sections are not required, so we're going to leave these blank. But you probably noticed that we're going to need to get Amazon API keys. And so we're going to go to our Amazon console. We're going to get our API keys, and we're going to come back and put this information in the next video. Welcome back. We're now in the IM console for Amazon SES, and what we're going to do is we're going to click Users, and then we're going to create a new user. So we're going to give this user a name, and we're going to grant programmatic access. And then we're going to click Next. And we're then going to attach existing policies directly. What we're going to do now is we're going to write in SES. We're going to give full access. And then we're going to click Review. Once we do that, we're then going to click Create User. We're now going to take our access key and our secret access key, and we're going to place them inside of WordPress. We're then going to click Save Changes. We're then going to come down to our confirmed senders. We're going to click Add this email. We'll then need to go to our email box in order to confirm. We'll then confirm the email address. Once we do that, we should be able to refresh the page. And our confirmation message then goes away. We will then turn on WP SES. And now our WordPress emails will be sent with Amazon SES. And we now have our test message. If we look at the from email address, it is the one that we expect. And we are now ready to expect higher deliverability with our notification emails. Welcome back. We can now expect our notification and transaction email sent from within this WordPress installation to be deliverable and to be deliverable with the email address that we have specified. So one of the things that we can do is we can now add new users. And we add that new user, give them a username and password. They should get an email from our new address. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to add this new user. And so now what we want to do is we want to go and see our transactional email from this email address. And we can see now that our WordPress emails are now coming from our verified domain from within Amazon SES, and they're coming through WordPress. And this is what we want because we want the reliability of Amazon SES. We also want the single identity of our email address. Welcome back. We are now at the Add Plugin section of our WordPress installation, and we've typed in SES again. And what we're looking for now is the ability for us to send newsletters from our WordPress installation. And there is a plugin that will allow us to do that, and it's called the Newsletter plugin. What we're going to do is we're going to click Install Now. Once we do that, we'll then click Activate. Once we install, we're then going to go to the Settings area. Now, in order to connect Amazon SES, you will need to go to get one of the professional extensions. Of course, the plugin does more than just send newsletters. However, what we're most concerned about is the ability to send through Amazon SES. Now, it also has other integrations such as SendGrid, Mailgun, Mailjet, and other email service providers. Now, what you will basically be able to do with this plugin is you'll be able to leverage the people that you already have as your users or those who become part of your users in being able to email them with a reliable email service. Of course, the plugin will last for 1 year, and then you'll have to repay a maintenance fee of some kind. In conclusion, now in this course, we've looked at when you are able to get your Amazon SES system set up with your emails, domains, and SMTP verified. You can then create connection points. We looked at a connection point with Sendy.co, which allows you to use a server-based software to connect with Amazon SES. We also looked at Email Octopus, which is a cloud-based service that connects with Amazon SES. We looked at the WordPress plugin WP SES, which allows you to use Amazon SES to send your transactional and notification emails inside of WordPress. We also looked at the Newsletter plugin, which will allow you to basically send newsletters inside of WordPress. And as this page is a paid plugin, we noticed that it's typically going to be advantageous to look at using a paid system. In fact, those plugins that were free and open source proved to be more difficult to install and get operational. Finally, we saw the benefit of making sure that your DKIM and SPF settings are set correctly and that all of your domains and email addresses are verified inside of Amazon SES. So with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video or in another course.